gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Grand Slam. It's me,
Grand
Edgar,
Salami.
and that's Rob Leone, also known as Robin.
That's it.
Yeah, and we back, and I think as you can tell if you're watching, we both have microphones.
Yes, we do.
We got some good microphones, ladies and gentlemen, and we got a little going on this episode today. We both saw a movie recently. Some game announcements came out. Certain conferences happened, and then of course we'll end off the show with another untitled idea segment. You know.
Yeah.
So always as a regular question. How have you been, Robin? How you doing? How's today going for you?
Well, I mean, just a little bit of annoyance of post-nasal drip thing happening in the back of my throat. Though I'm pretty sure it's just allergy stuff, but nothing too serious to worry about in terms of this climate that we're living in. I'm not too worried about it, but I'm still keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
Found mold in one of my water bottles.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize that until I had it in my mouth. I didn't swallow it, but I saw it in my mouth. Like, what the hell is that black stuff doing in my cup? I spat it out. And
all the mold.
So I need to wash that.
Oh yeah. Also, a quick little thing. Some of you watching, you're probably wondering, hey, you with the hat, why is there a TV next to you and it's not aligned right that well? Here's the thing. Give me a break. I'm still working on it. But also, the TV itself is where the chat's gonna be. Since I want to, as the months are going by, is getting close to school time, and I'll be going back to school soon, and I'll be doing classes, but also hopefully that's where I can have an definitive schedule for the show. Hopefully, cross your fingers. And
yes.
And I could be doing that, and we could give you a definite one to know when to tune in and all that stuff. And I want to be more active, more interactive with you guys in the chat. So whenever we do the show, I wanted to give you guys a little place you can be in this video too. You'll be in this ginormous TV right over here. This just big retro TV. This magical TV.
Right in between where both of our faces are.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll fix it later on to align it soon. I got some more tweaks, but hold your horses. You guys are still on TV. This is your TV chat. Chat there. This right here. This chat. That's you guys. That's you guys. If you guys talk in there, you can be there. It's
you can do whatever you want in that chat.
Yeah, it's basically your own channel. You get to see. Oh, what are you gonna see while we talk? You could put pogs in the chat, emojis in the chat. You could put more pogs. Look at that. Look at that. YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Even though this is actually Twitch, but yeah, what up? See, look at that chat. It's a magical chat. I'll go in the chat and I'll put some poggers in the chat. See, look at that. We got some pogs and whatever that is. We got some nice stuff there, ladies and gentlemen. This is your chat.
Whatever that is.
You see, whatever that is? That's you guys. See, look, your TV. So I get to see you guys. Make it easy for us. Make it. It's a very simple process. So with that out of the way, let's start with some quick game stuff that recently happened. That I feel like intrigued us both. But recently, two that I can remember, two live events happened recently, which was the one I believe I'm the only one who saw, and then you saw the other one, which was the Ubisoft and Devolver Digital event. both talking about games.
I tried to watch Digital Devolve. I don't know. There's something about it I just can't get into. I understand it's supposed to be a of news conferences or of game conferences, but I think it's just not for me. But like I did see that they're just, you know, since we're delving into it already.
Yeah.
I did see that one of the games they announced was Serious Sam 4.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of dope. So I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. The one I'm excited for, I believe, is called Carnivore or Carnosaur. You basically play like the monster in the game. It's it looks like the creature kind of reminds me of how the thing itself looks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like, and you're like I think you're like in a spaceship or like in a place that looks like it would be like in an aliens type movie setting. And I really want to play that because I'm like, oh, it looks really interesting. And then Serious Sam is like, oh, badass. But that's.
I hope this one is good.
Were the other ones not good or what?
Well, no, like that, like it's a cult classic game. Like it came out around the same time as Doom did, the first one. So it was already really popular. It was like a parody. It was like Duke Nukem, but a bit more silly, if that makes sense, and not really. It didn't really become a mature game until like the third one, I think. I can't remember. I haven't played them a lot, but I know about them, and I know that it's a really big cult classic game. Mm-hmm. But I know that the was not good.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm hoping that the fourth one is pretty good. So
that is true.
Or I might be mixing it up with the second one. That might be the bad one. I can't remember. So, oh yeah.
Who knows? But the other conference, I didn't get to see all of it, but I only wanted to see what games that I like there.
I did.
Robin did get to see the whole thing of the Ubisoft conference. And I feel like, I don't know, I think it's like we both agree on it, where it's like the only interesting games that were there were Legion, Far Cry 6, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, but even then, like listening to my buddy Frank talking about it, at least with Valhalla, it seemed kind of, when they finally showed the gameplay, it seemed kind of like, I think what he said, I can't remember. I have to go back and look it up, but I think he said it looked rather like dull looking.
Yeah,
like if you were comparing it to Odyssey, which was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, from what I played. I haven't finished it. It's such a big game. Mm-hmm. From what I played, it's really colorful. Graphics look fucking amazing. But I think the thing that will make me want to pick up Valhalla is the fact that you're playing as a Viking.
Yeah, that's what makes me interested in it. But yeah, to go through them all. So there was a bit of a controversial thing with Legion when they announced it. I forgot to bring this up with you earlier, but yeah, a controversial thing when they showed more gameplay of it at this thing was that one of they had a short film as a trailer, which it looked amazing. Like whatever they did for animation, yeah, it kind of awesome. It kind of looks like people who worked on Spider-Verse worked on this short film.
Yeah,
that's what kind of.
But and I knew what the taxi driver character was saying. It sounded very familiar. Excuse me, I'm burping.
You're good.
And it wasn't until my buddy Frank shared a post about that Kotaku put out, saying they used a quote from a poem about the Holocaust.
Oh. So
that whole dialogue, that whole monologue that's being said by the taxi driver throughout the thing, mm-hmm. It's like saying stuff like, they went after the foreigners. I said nothing because I wasn't a foreigner. And then it's listing off these things until it ends with, until they came after me and there was no one to speak for me. And that's from a poem of a German who, I think he was German, but he was for the Nazi Party, but I think he was a specific political affiliate that he recognized. And he, after the war ended, because he was sent to a concentration camp. He he said that it was the biggest mistake of his life that he supported that party. And I need to look this up, but like it's already bad that it's like, okay, why are you using a Holocaust quote or a quote of the Holocaust to market your game? That's just really just shitty. This is, I'm gonna say the whole poem.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that long. So this is how the actual poem goes. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. So, yeah, and the poem is called "First They Came," and it's by Martin. This is quoting from Kotaku, what I'm now quoting from, by Martin Niemöller. In the late 1920s and throughout the 1930s, Niemöller, a German citizen and Lutheran pastor, initially supported the rise of the Third Reich, believing Nazi rule would revitalize a country still on its heels in World War II, as did a lot of Germans thought it would help too. They didn't really know a lot of this crap. Which, like, when you think of, so like, you have to give the backstory of what happened. So like, Germany was in financial ruin after World War I. They were in a really big Great Depression, and they even went so bad. And I don't know, like we said, we weren't going to do Robin history hour. Here we are.
But you kind of sneaked it in.
There we go. And so during the 1920s and into the 1930s, Germany was under very bad inflation. So that means that they kept printing out money to the point where money was basically worthless. It cost almost over 1 million marks, that's the currency at the time, just to buy a piece of bread.
Damn.
And they even went as far as a rumored, and I don't think they ever discovered an actual bill, but they went as far as making a $1 trillion, I almost keep saying dollar, 1 trillion mark, a single paper note that would cost that would be it would be about that amount. But in the end of it, if you somehow did get it, somehow, it would basically be worth nothing. That's how bad the inflation was.
Shit.
And continuing on, believing Nazis would revitalize a country still on its reins for one. So it would make sense that if your country is in peril, like bankrupt, you can't get food, and then in comes this man who is questioning and wanting change to bring back the greatness for your country. Of course you're going to want to jump on that because you're wanting to make your country better. In the sense of Kotaku, make Germany great again. That's what they said.
Why does that sound familiar?
But it's like, it's saying that, like, you know, and I'm obviously not condoning the ideals of what Hitler was saying.
Yeah.
Don't
quote him wrong, guys. He's.
But you have to understand that if you were put in that same position as a poor German, and you don't have any money, you can't buy a house, and it's the same thing for your neighbors all around you. You don't even have enough money to buy bread for your family, and you have a man who comes in wanting change to build up this big empire so you can have that. You're not going to pay attention to the very controversial, like, I want to send the Jews to a concentration camp, or I want to make rules where Jews can't get jobs, or communists can't get jobs. I want to make rules, all these other rules. You're going to be looking past that because I want to be able to make to fix the country. And it's not until way later, after you find out other stuff happened, you start saying, I am regretting that we had this person in charge, which is essentially what Niemöller is basically saying. To continue on, but in my experience, if you have to ask the question, you don't need to hear the answer. As the decade went on, Niemöller loudly took issue with some aspects of Nazi doctrine. Nothing involving persecution, mind you, but rather with the matter of state control over religious practice. Niemöller was arrested in 1937 and spent the rest of the war in prison in one way or another. In 1941, the Nazis transferred him to the Dachau concentration camp, which is in southern Germany in Munich. I got to visit that place, and it's really just it's not like going to Auschwitz, but it's still very it's weird to be there. Where he stayed until its liberation in 1945. So, after the war, Niemöller came to regret supporting the Nazi regime. His poem is ultimately a public self-reckoning, one that people can neatly and conveniently point at to example away one of the darkest periods in recorded history. For all those who look back at the Holocaust and ask, okay, but how'd that happen? Well, first they came is your answer. So to put it lightly, continuing on, I'm about to be done. So to put it lightly, it's an interesting experience to queue up a trailer for a blockbuster video game, notably not about Nazis, and hear this. And I'm about to quote what they said in the trailer. First, they came for the foreigners, and I did not speak out because I was not a foreigner. Then they came for the protesters, and I did not speak out because I was not a protester. Then they came for the journalists, and I did not speak out because I was not a journalist. Then they came for the street artists, and I did not speak out because I was not a street artist. I realized eventually they'd come for me. There would be no one left to speak for me. And after seeing that and hearing that, I'm like thinking, what a shitty thing to do is to take something so specific in a darkest point in history and to use it to publicize your video game that has nothing to do with what they're talking about. You could come up with the excuse that in the basis of the game that England basically becomes a totalitarian dictatorship. But what they're basically not ripping off from, what they're paraphrasing from, is specifically about this specific point in history that we are trying to remember was a really terrible thing and should not happen again. So that's, in my opinion on it, is that it's shitty that they did that. And I think they should not have done it. What do you think?
After that history lesson, I remember watching that trailer, and since you said the entire thing, I remember hearing they say the entire poem right in the. They say it.
Well, they say their version of the poem.
Their poem. I don't. Yeah. I guess my memory's kind of vague on the trailer, but I do remember this is kind of a weird kind of thing of saying, because I was like, what is going on with this? But I never really thought about what it was, and now hearing this just right now, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, see, like the difference with me is because I've studied about the Holocaust and all that stuff. So I live with somebody that talks about it a lot. So I've heard this quote. I've heard this poem before.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, why did that sound so familiar? I did not know why it sounded so familiar until then Frank brought it up to me, or brought it up on our chat with the article, and I'm like, that's why it sounded familiar. So, this is going to take some. It's going to be some serious back for Ubisoft, especially added on to another controversial thing with Ubisoft. The day before the conference, they had sexual allegations and many other heads of Ubisoft.
Yeah, this time it's not about This time this wasn't about a time crunch like with Naughty Dog or NetherRealm Studios. It was more of the allegations going there, which, yeah.
The thing that's really fucked up about that is that their HR department knew about it and they did nothing about it.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. And
so
and there's a hashtag going around, this hashtag UbiForward, that was called, or Ubisoft Forward.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching a guy, this guy named Jimquisition. He did a video about it. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. It kind of reminds me, I think this movie's on Netflix. It's about this woman who goes along with her life, but it's like, I guess you could say it's in her, it's her story about how she's been with the allegations, but she can't speak up about them, like of what her boss has done.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it kind of reminded me of. I know I forgot the name of it, but I know it should be on Netflix. But either way, that shit that's happening at Ubisoft is horrible. It's really horrible.
It's like, I'm glad that this stuff is finally coming up. But it's like, this has been happening apparently for years. And people have been making complaints about it, and nobody's been doing anything about it.
Yeah, I think
and that's from within the company.
Mm-hmm. I remember in the another company like that, they did this. It happened the same thing. It was with I think it's Gearbox or 2K. I can't remember which company was it, but they're the ones. It's one of those two because they both work on Borderlands, and the head guy was I believe he's fired.
It was Gearbox. Gearbox.
Gearbox. Yeah,
I know who you're talking. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Gearbox.
He had those allegations too. That fucker. But yeah, they're all. It's a whole whack there.
Anyway, though.
Anyways,
besides the controversial thing of the Holocaust thing,
yeah.
I'm kind of excited for the game. I do want to try it.
Yeah,
play it.
It looks interesting. I like the concept where you play it. You can recruit anyone, and they come to be your own. You get to play as that character, which is really interesting.
Like, I played the first one.
The what?
I pre-ordered the first one. I pre-ordered the first Watch Dogs a long time ago, and it wasn't that good.
Yeah, well, I played on the Wii U, and I remember that was around the time when a lot of people were. It was another kind of controversy with Ubisoft with the downgrading the graphics when it comes out.
Yeah, but they've always done that.
Yeah,
like
it's nothing new with them.
So yeah, it looks interesting. I want to try it, but I'm not gonna like pre-order it. I'm gonna wait till it comes out and see if I want to try it or not.
That's what I'm gonna do with Assassin's Creed Valhalla as well.
Same with Valhalla. I think the thing with the Valhalla is that what's cool about it is that I didn't know that. I thought it was a cool idea that.
Can you say that again? You're cutting off.
Okay. The cool thing about Valhalla is that when you go out to attack villages and stuff like that, you can bring back supplies to build your own settlement, which I thought was a cool gameplay a cool new gameplay mechanic that they've added into it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, oh, cool. It's a cool thing to add to it. I remember a while ago, though, and this is the thing that worried me a bit, is that it looked too familiar, the gameplay. And I remember somebody sent me I remember my friend Frank asked if I wanted to see gameplay of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and before they took it down, because this is and everything. And I watched a little bit of it, and then I thought, and I told Frank, it's like, this just looks like Witcher 3.
Oh, well, I've never played Witcher 3, but it I guess you could say it's similar. But I mean, I don't know, with the recent Assassin's Creed games, they've never. This was already at the point where I was like, okay, I'm already kind of tired of the Assassin's Creed formula. I really enjoyed my time with I never played them, but my cousin would play them, and I really enjoyed watching Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. I played 3. I enjoyed 3 because that was the first Assassin's Creed game I have, but then I saw the other ones. I've been wanting to get Assassin's Creed Black Flag because I like the pirate settings. That's my favorite. And but it was also around the time when Unity was coming out, and that garbage fire happened.
I got that with my PlayStation 4 when I first got it.
Oh shit! Really?
It was a bundle. So like it came with Assassin's Creed Unity, along with the choice of like three different games to download, either Destiny or a 2K NBA game, and the other one was. And so I was like, all right, I'll get Destiny because I always wanted to play that. 2 of the biggest mistakes I've made in my entire life.
I bet, because I mean, damn.
And the thing that sucks is that as a historian, I love the French Revolution history. So like, I thought I love the French Revolution history. So I thought like, oh man, this Unity is going to be awesome because I love this stuff, and then it was just bad.
Oh yeah. And then what came after that? It was, I know that that Xbox 360 game that came out. Was it Origins?
After Unity was Origins, and
then Odyssey.
Origins is where they changed.
It's where they what?
It's where they changed the gameplay mechanic. It's where they decided, okay, we're gonna do a leveling system.
Yeah, I feel like they did a leveling, sort of an open world, kind of style. And
it was a big open world. I mean, not for Odyssey. Origins. I haven't played Origins.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I just heard it's very okay.
But Odyssey, oh my god. I think Odyssey is my favorite Assassin's Creed game that I've played, and I haven't even finished it. But it's from what I played, the gameplay was really good. The world is literally the entire all of the Greek islands, and it is such a huge map too. Like, it's great. The only thing is the voice acting is a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. With Odyssey, I was like very like mixed with it. I was like, I don't know if I should get it, but I was never really into the Greece thing. But then I heard that the next one was Vikings. I'm like, I kind of hope it's Vikings because I like Vikings. And here we are, and I'm like,
oh. I remember after Unity was Syndicate.
Oh, there you go, Syndicate. Why is that one so forgotten?
Because it's such a small map, and it was just such a forgettable story.
Because I've always heard like a lot of people give it good praise. Like it's actually not that bad or something like that.
It's not that bad, but it's just, I don't know why it is so forgettable. The fact that we both forgot about it proves that it's a forgettable game.
It's weird because thinking about it, Syndicate came out in between like it was like around like the bad time of Assassin's Creed, where like no one was liking Assassin's Creed, like everyone was already like out of the train of it, and Unity came out of that shit, and then the pre-generation called not Revelations, but Rogue. There you go, Assassin's Creed Rogue. That's the one that was sent for the old gen for 360 and PS3. And then Syndicate came out, and I was like, I don't know, because I heard Unity. I'm like, I ain't gonna touch an Assassin's Creed game. And then they waited a while, and then they talked about Assassin's Creed Origins, and then we have Odyssey, and now we have Valhalla. So,
at this point, like, it feels like they're starting to drive away from the idea of the Assassin's Creed namesake. Mm-hmm. Because like with Odyssey and then with Valhalla, it doesn't feel like you're playing as the assassin anymore.
Say that again? You're cutting off again.
It like I'm wondering.
Hold up, guys. Sorry, bit of something.
With the idea of so like the way the gameplay is played out with Odyssey and Valhalla, mm-hmm. it looks like that they're starting to lean away from the Assassin's Creed namesake, and it doesn't feel like you're fighting for the assassins anymore.
Like that's what I've kind of so with Odyssey, I know you've played some of it. Does it start? Does the game start off you in Greece, or does it start off as like some character from the modern world?
It starts off with some character.
They're still with the and they're still with like the whatever the company's name is.
No, not anymore. I think they ended that after Syndicate.
Syndicate.
Yeah.
Because I know.
Because now you're playing as.
Quick spoiler alert, guys. For the Assassin's Creed lore, if you really care. In Assassin's Creed 3, Desmond. Is that his name? Desmond.
Desmond, yeah.
Desmond dies. He's the modern assassin, and he dies at the end. And then Black Flag goes off with some random employee you play as in the company mm-hmm. that's basically like the ones behind the Templars. And I've always wondered, I'm like, how is that going to continue, like, as you go on? And I guess, as you're saying, like, they're not doing that anymore, or not really doing it.
They're shifting to some woman. I don't remember her name. But she's like an archaeologist trying to family history. So she has this friend that has like this machine that can basically do the same things that would be happening in the previous Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
So she finds out about her family, about the assassin in Egypt. That was the very first assassin. Then it's Odyssey, and I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing with Valhalla. My theory, and I'm hoping this is where they go, because the closest they got to modern day for Assassin's Creed was Syndicate.
Mm-hmm. Syndicate's like the most closest in the history of modern time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's set in the 1800 Industrial Revolution in England, around I don't remember what decade it's somewhere in the 1800s.
Yeah.
I want to say the mid 1800s. I can't remember. But my view is that the very last one is going to be the closest day as possible. And I've always loved this idea, and I don't think they're going to do this. But it would be set in Cold War Berlin during the 1960s. And you have to jump back and forth over the wall and stuff like that to commit to do missions and stuff like that.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Berlin.
Anyway, so
we also have Far Cry 6, but they didn't really show any gameplay. But I wanted to give a shout out to the to Ginas Carlo. Is that how do you say his name? I'm so sorry if I butchered his name. Mr. Esposito, that's his last name.
It's not popping up for me, so.
Giancarlo.
Oh, what did they say?
Nothing. Well, that's the actor who's playing, who's from Breaking Bad, who plays Gus.
Right.
He's the main guy. I don't know a lot of history, but I wanted to ask you this. I never sent you a message about this, but is this set in Cuba or where is this set in?
It is set in a Cuba-like island.
In a Cuba-like island.
Like how it's how like in Far Cry 5, I think Far Cry 5 is the only one where it's specifically set in a real location, but the designs they made is all fake. So Far Cry 5 is in Montana.
Okay.
Where they specifically say it's Montana. Far Cry 4 is in the Himalayas, or is in a Himalayan type area, in a fictional area close to Bhutan and Nepal. Far Cry 3 is in it's like in a Polynesian island. And Far Cry 2 is in Africa, and it's not specifically Cuba in Far Cry 6, but it's related to Cuba. And I knew that before they officially said that because the leaks came out saying where it said on a tropical island frozen in, and I knew it's like, oh, it's Cuba.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. I think that's a great option. I heard how big, reading up on it, I heard that it's one of the biggest worlds that that Ubisoft is making for Far Cry, and it's literally going to be the entire island of whatever the design will look like. And
hold up, I will be right back.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Robin Machuca's History Hour. I don't remember where the last time we left off. But today we're going to talk about the Cold War. Sorry, I'm so close to the mic. So, if you want to get technical, it started all the way back in 1917. That's a whole lot of history that we kind of covered. So, we'll fast forward. 1950. The start of the Korean War. So, in 1950, the Russians wanted to supply North Korea into spreading communism throughout all of the Korean peninsula. So North Korea was like, all right, since we got all this new shiny stuff, we're going to invade South Korea. So they started invading South Korea, and the UN is like, oh crap, what are we going to do? So the UN intervenes with the US mostly leading the fight. Intervenes in South Korea, and they start fighting until they got all the way up close to China. But Truman, the president at the time, didn't want to cause another World War III or cause another World War. and start chucking bombs as the general in charge was asking for nuclear bombs to be used. So they fell back to the 38th parallel where they are at a stalemate to this day. That ended in 1953. President Diem was also kind of a dick. He was a dick. Ho Chi Minh, he may have been a dick also, but he was a good dick. The president at the time that took us out of the war was Richard Nixon. Richard Milhouse Simpson Nixon. And but knowing people from myself, knowing people who have lived there for a while, living in Berlin when the wall was up, and even meeting people who were from East Berlin in East Germany, even meeting somebody who worked for the propaganda department in the radio station because he was a news reporter. And he studied for that. And he worked at a radio station that was basically brought shit, which was interesting to learn. Okay, I remember now. So there's a lot of stuff that happened on November 9th in German history. So going away from the Berlin Wall, I want this for a brief second, which is interesting to talk about. So a lot of stuff happened.
I'm back.
So in 1848,
I'm back.
On November 9th, there were revolts. The German March Revolution happened.
There we go. What were you talking about?
Also, another thing that's interesting is that we're talking about the Cold War. So in 1989, November 9th is when the Berlin Wall fell. Coincidentally, on that same night, back in 1938, Kristallnacht happened, which is when the Germans decided to destroy all synagogues that were in Germany. Which is a very weird and funny coincidence.
What is going on?
Anyway, okay, so what were we talking about?
we were finishing with the Far Cry stuff and the video game stuff. But you know what? You know what grinds my gears, Robin?
What?
Society. And you know what else is Society? It's the movie we saw called Society, which was released in 1989. It came out in 1989. This was directed by Brian Yuzna, and for those of you who are like, hey, who's Brian Yuzna? Well, fun fact: Brian Yuzna, he directed some movies called Beyond Reanimator, Bride of Reanimator.
Wait, he made Reanimator?
He did Faust. He
what? Oh. Okay, well, I mean that doesn't help this movie because this movie is just oh god.
He was I don't think he directed Reanimator. I think that's someone else. But so this guy did Faust. He did a movie called Faust a while ago. And you're like, Edgar, what are these movies? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Well, we're going to talk about Society, 1989 Society, a film that I saw and Robin saw because...
He did direct Reanimator.
Oh, did he? Oh.
Yeah. But anyway... he produced it. Never mind. Sorry, my bad.
There you go. So originally, you're gonna be wondering, how did you get to this movie, Edgar? Well, fun fact, I was watching these couple of guys named Red Letter Media. One of them talked about this movie, not a lot, but he only said the name. And I was there like, you know what? Let me see if I can find this movie and watch it. So I check on Letterboxd, and then I see that it's on Amazon Prime. And I'm like, oh shit, it's free on Amazon Prime. So I watched it. I finished watching it. and then I text Robin like, hey, I saw this movie called Society. It's on Amazon Prime for free. And Robin was like, I'll check it out. And then Robin saw it. And then just recently, yesterday, we talked about it to Mr. Will, and he saw it. So we all saw it,
and so his response, I have it right here.
Oh yeah, we have the response of Will.
His response to it is, "You made me watch this fucking movie. I kind of hate you both. I kind of hate the both of you."
Oh god.
And then so that happened. We made him watch it, and then originally I made Robin watch it, and then originally that I watched it because someone else was talking about it. And we want to give our brief thoughts and talk about it. I will say it's really up to the person if you want to go into this one blind or not blind. It's more if you really want to see something really bizarre, watch, or how Robin describes it, nightmare fuel. You could go check this movie out. It is on Amazon Prime, so it's for free. Just look up Society 1989. You'll find it. It looks, you'll see it when it happens. It just look for the one that's directed by Brian Usna, and it stars Bill Warlock, I think, by the look of his name, Billy Warlock, which I saw he was in Halloween 2. Little fun fact, he was in Halloween 2.
Oh my god! I went back in our conversation of reacting to it.
Oh yeah.
So this is what I said. Like, just after it just started, it's like, the fuck is this open credits sequence? I do not like the parents' vibe. What the fuck is this movie? He just came, like, he was, and then Edgar was asking what part I'm at, and I said he just came back to the therapist about the tape. And then I just go back to just saying, I just responded back to him, I'm uncomfortable. Him asking, are you at the part I think you're at? And I just say yes. I'm like, what nightmare fuel is this? And then this is how it ends. This is how I reacted to how it ended. What? That's how it ends? What the fuck?
And then it just ends, you know? And overall, I personally was like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time with it. Would I watch it again? I don't know. If other friends wanted to watch it, I'd probably watch it with them.
This is a movie that I would only watch again just to show people. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch this on my own.
Yeah. But that, yeah, we're gonna go with spoilers for this. I don't mind it. I don't think it would tarnish the way you see this film. I feel like you would even see where it goes, even at the beginning of the movie.
So, all right, so let's start from the beginning. So it starts off with, our buddy,
his name's Bill. His name's Mr.
Bill.
Bill. Good old Bill.
And he's having I'm assuming it's a dream. I don't know. They don't really explain it. It just kind of is like
it's
sweating. He's running through the house. He hears laughter happening around him.
Which I will say that I do like what they do with with the way they treat that, where it's like they make you feel like is this really happening, or is he just honestly just going bat crazy?
Going away from it and thinking about it, like it made, I do appreciate that there is that up of you wondering, like, okay, what the hell are they doing? Like, why are the parents so sketchy? Why are they picking up slugs from the garden?
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's like the one speck, and others is like he thinks it's like, oh, his parents don't care about him or any of this, and it's just like it's for a while for me it's like I knew where I was like I kind of know where this is going, but at the same time like I appreciate that they make it seem like it's like it tells you like, oh, is he really, is this all this really happening? Oh, doorbell. If all of this is really happening, or if it's just how do you say, if it's or if it's just him being nuts. Mm-hmm. But we all know what the answer is towards the end.
So like so it continues on. The next thing you know, he grabs a knife, and then he hears something, and then out of nowhere, the title sequence just starts. Like, okay, all right, this is the movie. All right, we're starting. And there's some weird.
What a weird way what a weird way of having your like the intro, the title sequence is going on.
It's so weird. Like you see, like the title sequence is happening, then the credits, and then you see like this weird like hands and arms moving around, and it's like I'm thinking like, oh my, is there an orgy happening? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
and
it's like this is weird.
You don't find out until way later.
Yeah,
close to the end, really.
But I would say like for this whole while, it's like this movie doesn't really show like the nightmare fuel till like almost at the end of the film, like the last 30 minutes.
Like the final act of the movie, you don't see the nightmare fuel until that.
Yeah. Overall, this whole movie is just like, it's just like, is it real or is it not? I'm like, it's just
like, that's the only thing that kept me going to keep watching this movie, was that I need to know what the hell there is happening.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that they're like, the thing that's it's such a confusing movie because they don't really explain like why they're there. They're just kind of like, oh, we've been here this entire time. We've been living among the humans. I'm like, well, then what are you?
I want to say, I guess this is like a commentary on like the rich and poor. That's what I kind of saw it is. They kind of say a line. I remember them saying a line like that, where it's where like, oh, basically all the people who are like rich or have a lot of money are what they are, which I believe they call themselves society. Like, we are the society. And this whole movie, I'm like, oh, this guy. I did like. I will say. So at the ending, which we'll jump around. There's his love interest. He's like it's like a regular bully thing, but there's this girl that he is really attracted to, and his girlfriend doesn't like how he's doing that, and then he goes to meet her, and she acts weird around him too because he sees stuff and he's hearing stuff, and he can't tell if he's going insane or that.
I just think it's funny that you can literally take out the girlfriend and it would not change the story at all.
Oh yeah, definitely. It would not change it. The girlfriend was literally like no point with her. Maybe I guess it was because for the girl, but it really wouldn't really change anything if you took out that.
It wouldn't have mattered. They just added like nonsensical conflict that had no point of being in it.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you're falling in love with this girl. It's like, okay,
because I was like, I mean, you said you wanted to break. It was like kind of you're breaking up with him. I don't know what's the deal with it.
Like that's the thing. After they break up, like I'm thinking,
you don't see her for the rest of the film. That's like the last time you see her.
She does not come back. Yeah, and it's like, what was the whole point of that? What was the point of that conflict? There was no point.
Let me see if I could find her name. I forgot.
The part that made me laugh so much.
Her name was.
Because it was so.
Her name's Heidi. That's the actress's name.
Heidi.
Okay. She was in Friday the 13th part. I don't know. She's also in Slumber Party Massacre 2. Yeah, those
Part
are
7.
those are the movies she's in. You were saying, Robin?
Like the part that made me laugh so much because it was ridiculous it was the part where, so it was after Bill's political rival, because he's also running for class president.
Oh yeah.
His political rival gets killed, and then he comes back saying, like, coming to the debate, saying, like, I just saw him get killed, and then he comes back and he's alive, and then so he gets laughed out of the theater, and then his best friend, who happens to be the moderator, comes by to say, like what's wrong with you? Why can't you tell me all this stuff that's happening? I can't believe. And then he comes to admit, because throughout the movie, Bill has been getting like these weird dolls, and apparently like a sex doll that's been put into his Jeep.
Oh yeah.
And like you keep thinking, like, oh, is this or whatever? Like,
say that again. You're
like
cutting off.
Is this coming from like the society or something? That's like, is that the reason for the sex dolls and the thing popping up in his thing? Like, and that's the thing that scared me. I keep cutting to different parts. That's the part that scares me, is that for the longest time I didn't think it was like some parasite or other species. I thought it was some weird incestuous thing that was happening, and I was like,
you didn't
what
think
the fuck is going on in the movie?
So what did you think, like, the creepy thing was gonna be? Did you think it was, were you thinking like it was just gonna be like reptile creatures or like other kind of weirdly alien?
I think so. Like, I knew there was something weird until, you know, there was that shower scene, but I kept thinking, like, what the hell, what's going on? Why are the mom and dad being really, really close with the daughter?
Oh yeah.
and then we get that. It was during that time I was like thinking, what is this relationship? What is this relationship?
Yeah.
And then the shower scene happens with where you see that the daughter, like, her upper torso is backwards compared to the lower portion of her body.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so it's something else. Thank God. It's not the other thing.
Yeah. I mean, it technically was, but I don't know.
Yeah. Later we find out that it's like, oh no, it is. It still very much is.
You were saying that what made you laugh?
So later he finds out that he admits that I thought it would get your attention putting the sex doll and all the stuff there. He gets pissed off at his best friend. Like, Bill gets pissed off at his best friend, saying, "Why would you do that? I can't believe you would do that." And then saying, like, I just can't believe you would be telling me this. I'm like your best friend. It's like the way that they're arguing, it seems like it's friendship ending. It's like they're never going to talk again. And then all of a sudden, just like at a snap of a finger, like, the best friend, like, said, like, it's fine. It's all right. Then Bill's best friend's like, all right, yeah, whatever. Like, nothing happened. It's like smiling about, laughing, chuckling, like, yeah, whatever. It's all cool, man. It's whatever. It's like, what was that? I was laughing for like a good 5 minutes because of that.
This movie made you question. This made you laugh. This made you scared. It's an all around movie.
But, like, that's the thing, though. Everything is just, it's still such a what? And that the only thing that's keeping me to it is wanting to know what this society thing is.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like later you start thinking, like, okay, no, it's the sum up of the story is that this orphan Bill is trying to fit in, but he's having these weird things.
He doesn't know he doesn't know he's an orphan yet. He has the thoughts of, like, maybe I was adopted, and then at the end they do say that you were just adopted. You were part of the plan.
What plan? What plan?
They were gonna consume. Well, as we get, they're like, you see what they plan on doing with their humans? They eat on the poor. regular humans that are not them, as you can see at the example they did to the guy that his not real sister was saying he was a creep of. He's like, this guy's a creep.
But it's like, it still begs the question, why?
Like, why are they eating him?
Why are they eating him? Like, why do they exist? Because they don't explain why they're there. They just say, "Oh yeah, we've been here this entire time."
It's like we've lived here longer. We've been here since Julius Caesar. And then they're like,
okay,
because the recording's like, they're like, excuse me, they're like, we're doing the ceremony where we join each other, and they, I don't know, it was like they made it seem so sexual, which was like really weird.
It's like we join each other, we combine one another, we eat the person, we have sex with our daughters. It's this whole
society is just disgusting, and with this whole thing, it's like it's I guess you could say it's technically an orgy, but it's like the most disturbing looking way, which I will say props off to the makeup designers and the people who
it does look interesting, but at the same time really obvious.
Yeah,
like I'll give it to the props and the makeup, but at the same time it's kind of like I don't know, it just seemed very obvious it was latex and stuff.
Yeah, there were parts like when you can see that it was latex, and you can see like the parts where it cuts off and the stuff. But I guess for me, I was like, I'm like it's a lot of effort to put on this bizarre of a film.
If they can be at the same level as The Thing, then they'll give you props for it. Till then.
Yeah, the props is something that was like those pieces, but I'm still giving like good props on these guys who just went like balls to the walls, weird and creative with these
I will say
weird
for the
kind of creatures.
The actor's sake, there were some questionable moments of like, is that really the choice that you went with, kind of thing? Mm-hmm. Like the idea of the best friend fight.
Yeah, some of the line deliveries, and I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like it felt like there were certain scenes that were cut. Like it felt. I don't want to say it felt a bit rushed, but it felt like they cut off certain scenes. I felt like that would have helped, or like it was part of the thing.
Yeah,
that's what I feel when I saw this movie.
Okay, so the ending.
Oh yeah.
So the ending is like, so Bill gets rescued by, he's about to get eaten, basically.
Yeah.
And Bill gets rescued by his love interest, who's also a rich person, but has then come around to like, no, I'm in love with this regular person. She
fell in love with this one. She's like, I don't like how these people are. And she's always been like this. She's like, I guess that's you see how she is in the whole film. She never really wanted to be part of that, I guess.
But then his best friend shows up inside, dressed up as a cop. Keep in mind, he's a teenager.
Yeah.
And he thought, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna pass off as a cop if I just dress up as one.
Yeah.
He's like a freshman high schooler. How is he gonna pass off as a cop?
It was, and he went with the girl's mom.
Yes, and we don't see the mom after she gets into like some confrontation with somebody. We just assume that she died in there. That's what I'm assuming.
I thought she followed his Bill's friend inside the house, because she knocks out. Because they knock out the car. And then she goes over and she fights the main old rich guy because someone, or to the guy, because they punched her. They grabbed her daughter, which is the girl that changed.
But then this is what happens. So after Bill sees his foster parents and his stepsister do whatever the hell they were doing by integrating with each other, he then escapes with. He then like shoots. I think he shoots the main bull, or something like that. He kills him,
Who,
and he turns into worms. No, like Bill kills the bully guy who turns into worms.
Oh no! He didn't turn to worms. This is the worms are like their appetizers, like the rich thing. But what happened is he wanted to do a one-on-one fight with the main bully, who was also part of the society. And just as he's about to fight him, because we do see what they do to the regular humans, which is the part that kind of disturbed me a lot. I will say, to backtrack a bit, where it's like Bill's like, "Oh, we're going doing him first, and then you're next," and the guy is like, "Oh," and then they just, I guess it's like a fort. The way they did it's kind of a foreshadowing of what happens, where he puts his hand, the old guy puts his hand. Everyone's like all like oiled or they have blood.
He basically shove his hand up the human's ass,
up the
and
guy's,
it comes out his mouth.
And it balls the eyes out, and it's like he just turns. It's like that was like the ending thing. At first, like everyone just has their sucky things and his arms stretching. Everyone's like molding and melding into each other, and then the old man comes in. He gets out, and then he puts his hand there, and then it just stays there, and they're like all formed and like that. And I'm like, what is this stuff? It was real disturbing, and then they just get out. And the guy, he spits a hairball, which is the kid's hair. I'm like, oh, okay, oh, gross. And while Bill's in there, he's just like checking around the place, and then he finds where his adopted parents and the daughter were, and that scene was like really creepy, because then the daughter's body's there, and then the mom, I think it's the dad's hands that fall that she's walking as legs, and then his dad becomes a butthead, a literal butthead.
Like his head is inside of his
own butt.
Legs are out, and it's like, what the hell? But like, what ends up happening? So they get into the fight.
Yeah, the one-on-one fight.
Like doing the same thing by shoving his hand up his ass.
What made it looked like he punched his nut, and then he just went all the way up, since they kind of look stretchy, and he grabs him there, and then he just basically he rips him from the inside outs him, I guess you could say.
And then Bill, his friend, and then the love interest are like, this is the part where I'm like, wait, where's the mom? Because after she had the fight, we don't. No,
she was in the car
again.
She gets in the car.
No, she didn't. I did not see her. No, she wasn't in the Jeep.
I swear she was in the Jeep. My memory.
She did not get in the Jeep. It was just those.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go check right now.
I'm telling you, she did not get in the Jeep. It was just those three.
I remember seeing her again. I remember like, oh, I seen her again. Maybe my memory's foggy, but I remember seeing her even around that time. Hold up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna go through this movie and see it, but good thing I have this thing muted, so none of you can get seeing it, even though you're technically already getting spoiled with this movie. But you know, it's so okay. As continue as they're going on, they flip the he makes the guy inside out, and
so he makes the guys inside out. They end up about the kid. Bill says a one-liner, and then they finally leave the place.
Yeah, he scares everyone. Like they're like, oh shit. I guess it's because they've never seen a regular. I guess it's to them they've never seen a regular human. They've never seen a regular human actually kill them, so that gets them all like scared and like, oh shit. Also, this movie is rated PG-13. Fun fact. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, what happened, Robin?
I had to also go in and look too, because I'm pretty sure she did not leave with them.
Let me see. Is my memory faded? Let's see. No, you're right. She's not in the car. In the Jeep.
I told you.
Weird.
She just.
God.
I'm I'm just assuming she died.
Probably, yeah.
That's all I'm assuming. Like, what happens? So, like, they leave. He says his one-liner. They run out of the house. They get into the Jeep. They drive off. Don't see the mom. Don't know what happened to her. Drive off. Credits.
Nothing else, just credits.
It just ends.
And it does. It ends because I like the ending of what the guy says. He's all like, the old man's like, hey, Jerry, I think maybe I have a new opening for that internship in Washington now. If you want to take it, something like that. And then
which is supposed to imply that this goes higher up. It goes into politics, but it's like. But then it's like
because originally he offered the internship to that bully guy, because he's like, hey, do you want the internship? He's like, yeah, be honor. And then now he's dead. He's like, oh, the internship just opened up.
But it's like at the same time, it's like, okay, that doesn't really help the story. I guess that just implies that it's like, oh, I mean, it's supposed to.
What, the line itself, or?
Well. Not just the line, but that whole that specific sub. But maybe not the subplot. You can still have that.
Can you say it again? You're cutting off.
It's kind of like I guess it helps with the, I guess, maintain the relationship between the bully and the judge. That whole internship thing, but it's like it's briefly mentioned. And then out of nowhere, it's like, oh, I guess the job's opened up now. Okay.
I don't see nothing wrong with it. It's just making a joke like, hey, it's supposed to be like a little guy who's like, hey, I think I have the internship open now because the guy's dead. So he's just offering it up to someone else. Honestly, I don't see it as so much of a big statement. I can see through this movie, I can tell that this was kind of like what they were going for, and like what they're stating out about, like, oh, this is they treat the rich like this, and this is the poor. It's supposed to be something like that. I guess that's what the story was giving out. But our quick final thoughts with this movie. What would you rate it, Robin, out of 5 stars?
I'd give it a 1. Legit, I'd give it a 1. I'm like, I did not. I give it 1 in the best possible way, if that makes any sense. Because I'm not willing. I am not willing to rewatch this movie again. It's still very confusing how they showed it. There's still no explanation of why they're there. They're just kind of there.
I mean, I don't see it as why they're there. It's like, oh, they've been there for centuries. It's to say that, oh, they've been here on the Earth the same as humans. They're not like an extraterrestrial thing. They're basically, they lived on Earth. That's what I remember.
Yes, but it's like at the same time, it's like why? It's still that same question. Why?
I guess that's what I saw, but I don't think there's so much explanation you could give with that.
For me, it's like it just feels like it's not yet. That's my criticism with it.
It's not
fully fleshed out. It's not fully fleshed out yet. That's my criticism with it.
So would you say you wanted to know more information? Like, you want to know more of it?
I would like at least some context. Like, I mean, if you would have like a corny, like a much more extended corny explanation of like, oh, this is why we're here, even though we were here with blah 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 and stuff like that. It's like, okay, I don't know.
I would honestly give it. I'd give it 3.5 stars out of 5. I personally overall really enjoyed the movie. I liked very cheesy. It's an old, like, it's an 80s B movie of the time, and I enjoyed like the effort they gave to it, to like what they try to give with it. I didn't really mind what they did, because I didn't see the story of the society very vague. It was more like I felt like it was more just like a B horror kind of film, and I really enjoyed like the bizarreness they gave it. And the main thing I can appreciate is the way they try to say, oh, is Bill like actually knowing that things are going on here, or is he just going like blatantly insane? I give it like a 3. The reason I give it 3.5 stars is like I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's like the best horror film out there. But it's a very charming kind of film that I want to give it credit to with this whole nightmare thing. I would watch it if I were with a group of people who haven't seen it yet. But if you're like a horror enthusiast, like someone who really is into the horror genre, this is a movie I highly recommend for people to watch if you want to look into it. It's I will say that a lot of the lines I felt like they could have done reshots to deliver them better. That main plot with that other girl, his first girlfriend, could have been cut out and nothing would have changed. Maybe some scenes to put in to make it feel a bit more explained, because like there's some scenes that feel like that they were cut and it just feels like a bit bizarre from what jumps that goes in. But because you could say it's like it's an intention of the movie, that it's like very vague, but either way, it's like some of these are legit. It felt like that they cut them, but I don't know the full story. But I would say overall, it's an enjoyable old B horror movie that I will say that I feel like not everyone would like, maybe because of how, I guess you could say how slow it is, but it's not really that slow. It's more just, it doesn't show you the creature like automatically. It takes its time before it shows its full color. But yeah, 3.5 stars out of 5. That's like for you people wondering, that's like basically a 7 out of 10. A bit above average.
Chat, can I talk to you in the other room?
Don't listen to him, Chat.
I just don't understand it. It just doesn't make any goddamn sense. I know, it's fine. Okay, well, whatever. Okay, just, he has BO. He has BO.
He's got BO. Also, we're almost at the time, ladies and gentlemen. But just to, as we usually ended off with the Untitled segment. I forgot. I don't know if you started it last time or I started. I can't remember. But
I think you started this time.
Okay, so Robin, what have you recently watched, played, or watched again? Or whatever.
I've been playing a game called Tycoon, which is an indie.
Can you say it again? You're cutting off.
I've been playing a game called Game Dev Tycoon, which is a game. It's an indie game where you basically play as an up-and-coming game developer, and throughout the years you make your own games, and there's people making their own there's like PlayStation 2, Nintendo Wii, all the consoles, but they're named differently for copyright reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to basically make your own game and rise above the ranks in terms of the gaming world. So it's a fun game. I'd recommend it.
Nice. And it's on PC or?
Yeah, it's on PC. There is a mobile version, but it's a different name. I can't remember what it's called, but it's very similar to that also.
Interesting. I gotta check it out soon.
So what have you recently played, watched, or listened to?
Me? I finished Spyro 1. That was the one I finished. I was playing Spyro 2. But then I noticed that they released a physical version finally of the Wonderful 101 remaster by Platinum Games. And I went ahead and purchased it. I started playing it. I'm not that far into it. I'm like in the middle of it. But overall, I'm really loving this game. It's a very very cheesy, the way they introduce it, it's very like oldie, cheesy superhero type of game, where like the story, everyone's like over exaggerated cartoons of how they are, but it's a very weird but a unique way of a beat 'em up game of how they do it. It's basically the Wonderful 101. It's you play as this character called Red Red 101 or 100, and this intergalactic species, which I can't say I don't know, I can't say the name, not because it's bad, but it's because I don't remember it. But it's like it's a name, it's like something evil league or like that. It's a funny name, but you play as these, and there's you wear this mask which gives you a suit and unique powers, which you become invisible and you get superhuman strength, basically a superhero. And what you could do with the game is you're not just playing as one person.
Oh yeah.
Whoa! What was that? We got a someone followed, because I heard. I don't know if it'll show up here. Hopefully it could show up, but maybe it did, maybe not. I can't really tell because whenever you well, okay. Sorry if I'm out of track. So whenever someone follows the Grand Slam, it's like a burger that comes out in the corner, and it says, and it goes on. It says, "Oh yeah." It kind of sounds like you saying "Oh yeah," but it's not you. And it's like this person, whatever, has acquired the burger.
Nice.
So I don't know if it showed up. I kind of hope it shows up. But whoever,
welcome follower.
Whoever did the follow, thank you so much, lady, gentleman, or whoever you are. Thank you for the follow. But I will say, continuing on, so you play as this 1-0, and you'll see random citizens that you have to save and help. But what you can do is you can grab them, and they can be part of your team. So imagine, Pikmin, right?
Yeah.
So imagine Pikmin, but as a Devil May Cry beat 'em up.
Oh shit.
it's and the way the game is very, it's a very complicated. It looks very complex when you play it, but once you know the mechanic itself, it's fucking fun. And the story itself is so cheesy that it's very charming. It's a very funny game. And so basically, the way you do you get different weapons, is because of the character. So there's Wonder Red, Wonder Blue, Wonder Green, and so on and so forth. And so Wonder Red, he has the power of like a giant fist. So he beats the person with a giant fist. Yes, hamburger. With a giant fist. And there's Wonder Blue, which he has when you use him and because this was a Wii U port, and you would have to use the touchscreen to make the you could use the touchscreen to be like, oh, make a straight line and that'll be a sword, or make a circle and that'll be the fist, and then you could make the shape of the letter L to make a gun, and then
Okay.
And with that would create like a giant. It looks like it has like Green Lantern powers, and you get to use those, and that's how you defeat the enemies, and that's how you switch from weapon to weapon. And in this one, since it's a remaster, if you play it on just portable, you can use your finger or touchpad. But I feel it's easier to use the stick because you can make the shape easily. It's not as difficult. It's not complicated to do that. But I appreciate and I love the unique way that you switch out your weapons and how you use them in the environment itself. And the music's great too in that game. It's a really fun time.
Nice.
I would say it's one of the on Platinum's one of their on their usual good games they make. So I would recommend it for everyone.
All right.
Yeah. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for joining. Hamburger. Any last words,
Hamburger.
Robin? Any last words? Anything you want to promote? Anything you got going on?
Fuck that movie society. Not really, but I have my feelings towards it.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. Follow me on Twitter at RobinDeerT1000.
Yep. Right next to him, under that picture of him, with the glowing eyes, literal glowing eyes. It's going. It's his users right there. For me, it's you can follow me. You'll see it later on, or you can see in the links below. And hopefully, we can do. Hopefully, as the weeks go by, we'll be able to do more streams and more stuff like this. I'm crossing my fingers so I can fully get the full plan about it once I go back to school. But as always, guys, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys soon. We love you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye.
I fell.
Goodbye.